a Thanksgiving. What a Black Friday. Happy Thanksgiving and whatnot to everyone. And welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. And to my right is a man who is definitely not coming down with a cold or has not come down with a cold. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right. I sound a little better than you, but I feel like I'm fighting something. So here's a pro tip for you, Ryan, because you hooked me up with the zinc, and that really helped. That one extra life I was trying to power through. This sounds weird, but stay with me. Water, honey, lemon juice, cinnamon, turmeric. Drink that. Go to bed. It helped me. It helped me. So you don't want to be sprinkling turmeric in water, but sometimes drastic
Well,
times call for drastic measures.
I mean, I do take turmeric every day because it's anti-inflammatory, helps your joints, helps everything else. So,
Yeah, yeah.
we've talked about how I've been doing improvements in my life for not so much anti-aging, but just trying to make my life better. And turmeric is one of those great supplements that everybody needs to take. There's a reason why a lot of Middle Eastern cuisine puts it in their food. That's the
Yes.
reason why. So I've been fighting this cold since about I thought it was allergies. I was hoping it was allergies, but unfortunately I had to miss Thanksgiving with my brothers in laws, and thankfully my sister was awesome and brought me a plate home. But that was my Thanksgiving. It was just spending at home, convalescing and resting. I still sound a little stuffy, but I think the worst is over, which is awesome. So, but my
Yeah.
Thanksgiving was kind of like was that. How about yours, Dustin? What was your Thanksgiving?
Oh,
How was your
mine was good. Mine was good. I went over to Tracy's house, and there's a picture on Facebook for those who follow me there. Pickles did try to eat off Nick's plate. He definitely did when we were taking a picture. For my sister loves to post on the old socials, so she had to take a
course?
picture of her plate and everything. And yeah, Pickles definitely tried to get him some there. But we did put turkey in his bowl, but it was nice. It was just the three of us. We made a lot of food. Now my sister is also sick, which I did not know when I went over for Thanksgiving. But what are you gonna do? I'm just doing my best to fight it off here, and it was a great time. Did not watch a lot of football though. Nick and I cut over to the
Hmm.
game, the Detroit Green Bay game at one point, but it's always tough because my sister's nice enough to host Thanksgiving. I made mashed potatoes and some fresh bread to bring over to contribute, but she does not care for football, so we did not want her to sit through football, try to force her to watch football. And I'm about to a controversial take right here, but we tried watching the Harry Potter movies again. We started them last year on Thanksgiving. We resumed them again this year. Those movies are overrated, man. They don't do it for me. I don't understand what people see in them. If you like them, good on you, but I don't know if we're going to finish. I don't know if we're going to go through it. It's no Lord of the Rings, that's for sure. But I had a great Thanksgiving, and I was sorry to hear you were sick and missed it, but at least you got some of that delicious food, and at least the games were pretty good. You get
Yes.
the Thanksgiving games were good,
Yeah.
and we'll get into it.
We'll talk about them in just a moment. But before we do that, we just want to remind the folks who are watching and listening to please follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also check out our other podcasts and written content at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, you can hit the subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host, which is Podbean. I'm not going to sing it this time because I'm sick. And
Freshly brewed
there we
podcast.
go. And hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when we're live, when we have announcements go up, and when we have show clips go up. We are on the Belly Up Twitter/X today. So thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. This will be on repeat on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel a little bit later today. On the podcast, like also again, rate, review, comment, 5-star rating will be helpful. A review would be helpful. Leaving on reviews, your reviews on platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podchaser, and hit that and leave a comment. Leave a comment on Spotify. You can leave comments in the show. Let us know what you're listening to, how you're reacting, And if you're watching on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page, leave a comment below. What was your favorite Thanksgiving day? What was your favorite Thanksgiving moment too? That'd be kind of cool to see what
Oh yeah.
going out there. And because we're a live show on most Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, had a little bit late start today because of all the games we were reviewing and previewing today. A lot of notes today, so we had a little bit of a late start. And Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. We're gonna have some scheduling changes down the road for the holidays, but we'll let you know ahead of time what we're gonna do. But I know I'm feeling a little bit down and not feeling too well. But I know Dustin, I know this tune always picks me up and always picks you up when you're not feeling great either.
Even if you're not feeling fine, this will help you feel better. It's chime time.
Indeed. All right, we're going to get started with our Thursday slate of games on Thanksgiving. First off, the Packers traveling to Detroit and upending the Lions 31-24. I don't think this score reflects what the game was. I don't know about you, Dustin, but that's how it feels to me. Let's talk about this game a little bit. What's your thoughts about this game? I know you said you didn't watch a lot of the early games, but at the same time you were still trying to pay attention.
Yeah. Still trying to pay attention, and I have impeccable timing because I said to Tracy, I said, "Hey, can we flip over to the Lions game for a second?" I flipped over right during the halftime performance, so that was great timing on my part. But I did catch up with the highlights on this game. First of all, we said, well, at least I said heading into the game, I said, I don't know what Green Bay's defense is going to do because there's times where they've looked elite, there's times where they've struggled a little bit. Micah Parsons. He was big in this game, and I think what's happening, and you noticed it too, Ryan, I wager, because you watched the entire game. The Lions seem, for the last few games, they can't get it going early. They scuffle a little bit coming out of the gate, and then it costs them later in the game. They got it going a little bit, but Amon-Ra St. Brown was injured in this one. So the offense, the Lions offense, it's going through Jahmyr Gibbs and it's going through Jameson Williams now. Jameson Williams became the focal point of the offense on the receiving side once Amon-Ra wasn't in there. But Green Bay, credit to them. You never know who the number one receiver is going to be for the Green Bay Packers because they spread the ball around. Dontavian Wicks he was number one this game. He was Jordan Love's favorite target in this one. That touchdown, little controversial. I don't know if it was a touchdown or not because it looked like to me he lost control of the ball as he was going out of the end zone, out of bounds. But man, Jordan Love. And a lot of people were not happy with us before the season because we reacted to Mike Tannenbaum's list. But Jordan Love, credit to where credit is due. He played great in this one, and he's really cut down on the interceptions this year, at least as far as I know, because the running game, Josh Jacobs had moments, but he really didn't get it going in this one. It was Jordan Love hucking it all over the yard. And the Lions are in some trouble now, Ryan. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to another team in the next game after this one that has kind of the same feel to me. The Lions, it feels like death by 1,000 paper cuts. They lose Aaron Glenn. Their defense goes down a little bit. They lose Ben Johnson. I think we see his impact. We'll get to the Bears later. And David Montgomery just hasn't been running the way that he ran last year. So they haven't had the 1-2 punch. Frank Ragnow is coming out of retirement to return to play for the Lions because he wants to help their offensive line. Dan Quinn's taken over play calling because the offense hasn't been, or Dan Campbell, my apologies, taking over play calling because the offense hasn't been good. The Lions, I think, still as constructed, are good enough to maybe make the playoffs, but I think I think what are they 1-3 in the division, whereas the Packers are 3-0 in the division. So the Packers are sitting pretty right now, and the Packers look like the better team in this one. Ryan, you were right. The score doesn't really reflect the Lions took a moment to get going, and it cost them because the Packers were clicking on all cylinders from the word go.
Yeah, this was a game again. I said before I handed it over to you that the stats didn't reflect what the game actually was, and this was a dominant performance by the Packers.
Yeah.
And here he is, the meme Toyotathon Jordan Love has officially arrived, and once again, he's arriving on the biggest stage, just like he did 2 seasons ago when he went to Detroit. They beat Detroit on Thanksgiving and went on that run to the playoffs. Could it happen again? We'll have to see. We'll have to figure out what we'll have to see. As you mentioned, Dustin, Dontavian Hicks was Jordan Love's favorite target. 6 receptions, 2 touchdowns, including that controversial touchdown catch on 4th and 2 that happened early in the second quarter, where it looked like it was going to be out of bounds, but they get the ball, they give the touchdown to him. The Lions again struggling to get things going early. Happened against the Giants last week. Happened against the Packers on Thursday afternoon, and the pass rush got to Jared Goff. Micah Parsons 2.5 sacks. Packers had 3 sacks on the day. Parsons had 2.5 of those sacks. And the turning point of the game, and I know that Dan Campbell likes to play the statistics.
Yeah.
The odds. But they had to be better on 4th down. They went on 4th down. They went for it on the first series of the second half inside Green Bay's territory at the right across midfield. Went for it on 4th and 2 and didn't catch it. It didn't get it. 2 plays later for the Packers, they go up 10. At that point, it was 17-14. Excuse me. And then on the second to last possession of the game, the Lions were inside the Packers 25, couldn't convert on 4th down. And they wound up getting a field goal after that. They couldn't get the ball back, and that was it. That was over.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
It was a microcosm to me of the entire game. Goff is going in. He's trying to get a touchdown. He's trying to get a touchdown late in the game, and Micah Parsons gets to him and sacks him, and then it causes the field goal. So, I mean, that just the Lions just they have the look, and I know this is a reactionary thing to say, but they have a look of somebody that's trying to keep a car running. There's somebody that's trying to keep a car going, and it's getting harder. You can't find the parts that you need. You're trying to go to a junkyard and find an old, it's tough. It's tough. I think it's going to be tough sledding for the Lions. Talented though they still are, they've lost too many pieces, and St. Brown being out is big.
Yeah, that injury early was very impactful for the Lions. Took away one of their biggest weapons in Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I don't think he came back. I don't think he came back in that game, if I remember correctly.
I believe so. I don't believe so.
Yeah. So that was the early game, and we move on to the afternoon game.
Chiefs Cowboys.
Yeah, Chiefs Cowboys, and people were saying this is the game of the century. Did this game meet the hyperbole of the game of the century? No, but it still was a very good game. Was a very good game. Was arguably the best of the 4 holiday games, and had an exciting first half, a mild third quarter. But shout out to Jim Ross, business picked up in the fourth quarter, and it certainly did. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. Look, after weeks of struggle, gotta give him credit where credit's due. CeeDee Lamb had a great game, 7 receptions, 112 yards, and a touchdown. Dak Prescott doing his thing, earning game MVP honors with 320 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. But we got to talk about this Cowboys defense, though. They have been outstanding since the trade deadline. Yes, their first game after the trade deadline, it was the Raiders. We saw what they did to the Raiders on Monday night.
Yeah.
But second half shutout against the Eagles last week. This week playing again a team that is a perennial playoff opponent, perennially in the playoffs every single year for the last decade. And they played pretty well. They shut them out in the third quarter, excuse me. You got to talk about some of these names, though. Jadeveon Clowney. Remember him?
Yes.
2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 5 solo tackles. He's playing like he's 2014 Jadeveon Clowney again. The same with Dante Fowler. Remember Dante Fowler? Remember
Yeah.
him? Hit the other of the team's 3 sacks. And I have to wonder, and Tony Romo said this towards the end of the game. Actually, right at the end of the game. He says the Cowboys, I don't know if it's been a homerism, considering he was a Cowboy.
Yeah.
But I also have to wonder, too, are the Cowboys primed for a run? Because a few weeks ago, the Eagles were running away with the division.
Yeah.
But now the Cowboys are in the Eagles' rearview mirror. So could they go on a run and possibly not only make the playoffs, but also win the NFC East?
Man, I mean, it's a possibility because we'll get to the Eagles later in the show. The Eagles, ooh boy, I got a lot to say about the Eagles. Now, candidly, I did not see this Cowboys Chiefs game. I didn't get a chance to see any of this one. We were eating dinner during it. And again, like I said, my sister's hosting Thanksgiving. She doesn't like football. I'm not going to try to sit there and force her to watch it. This one I didn't get to catch up with as much as Packers Lions. But the Chiefs are the other team that I wanted to talk about, about death by 1,000 paper cuts. We keep waiting for the other shoe to drop with the Chiefs, and we keep waiting for them to turn it on, a la the 1980s Lakers. Oh, they had that postseason switch, and they would just turn it on in the playoffs and make a run. But I think the time is running out on the Chiefs. Again, it might be slightly overreactionary for me to say that, but Travis Kelce, he's getting older. He's not quite what he used to be. He and Mahomes still connected for a touchdown in this one, but he's not quite what he used to be. The Chiefs defense, which I have famously said, they get better as the season goes on. Dak throws that early pick, and you're thinking, okay, here we go. It's going to be Dak Prescott and his normal collapse, that he does. But Dak was unbelievable in this game after that pick. And, the Cowboys defense, you mentioned it, Ryan. As much as we like to throw shade at Jerry Jones, he seems to have pushed the right buttons with some of these signings and to shore up his defense. I still think he was absolutely insane for getting rid of Micah Parsons, but that's beside the point. The Dallas defense has picked it up a little bit, and it just the Chiefs have a team the same feel as the Lions to me now, that they're just trying to get an old car running. They're saying, why isn't this going quite as good as it usually does? And it's because last year they were winning. I feel like last year they had a similar feel to this year's team, but there was one key difference. They were winning all of the close games. They're not doing that this time. The script has completely flipped on the Chiefs, and they have no running game to speak of. Kareem Hunt is not going to get it done. Isaiah Pacheco has not been running the way that he has. Xavier Worthy has been invisible since he came back, and I think it's too much. Patrick Mahomes is trying to do it on his own. He threw 4 touchdowns in this game, but it's not going to be enough. He can't do it by himself, despite what Chris Collinsworth thinks. And Dak, you got to credit him. He was amazing in this game. You mentioned it before, Ryan. CeeDee Lamb, he's had the drops issues. He showed up in this one. George Pickens has been great. He's been emerging as their number 1 receiver. Do I think that Dallas's defense is shored up enough to make a run at the playoffs? Yes. For the division, I don't know. They might have dug themselves too big of a hole, but I have to look at their schedule and see, do they face the Eagles, one more time?
I have it.
Okay.
They've already played the Eagles twice. They played on the Thursday night opener in week 1, and they played them last week. So this is their schedule here on out. Next Thursday against the Lions. At the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
The Sunday night game, home against the Vikings. Sunday afternoon, home against the Chargers. Christmas at the Commanders. And then week 18, they're at the Giants We don't know, to be determined.
Yeah.
So they could run the table. The Lions struggling,
Yes.
the Chargers kind of hit and miss. The Vikings, we know who they are,
Yeah.
and the Commanders, we know who they are, and the Giants, we kind of know who they are. But again, Jackson Dart being back in the lineup and Mike Kafka calling plays, and we'll see what kind of defense they have this week again, this Monday night against the Patriots. Giants might surprise them. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, they could. I mean, but I think it's not inconceivable, and I never would have thought this. It is not inconceivable that the Dallas Cowboys could make a run. And it's large part, like you said, Ryan, the acquisition of Jadeveon Clowney. Now, obviously, I know a little bit about Jadeveon because of his time with the Seahawks and the Browns and the Panthers and the Texans. Texans probably when he was at his peak, although he was very good at periods for the Seahawks and Browns. But he has really turned back the clock. And when I saw that they had signed Jadeveon Clowney, I said, he's been without a job for a long time. And it was kind of, Jerry's desperate. Jerry's desperate to try to get something going here. But man, Jadeveon looks like a player reborn for sure. He got in the fountain of youth or something.
Yeah, some of these players have gone through the rejuvenation machine. Clowney and Fowler in particular have been playing pretty well the last couple of weeks. So we're moving on to the Thursday night game, arguably the most surprising game of them all. Bengals over the Ravens. I should change that score to Ravens 14, not 13. My apologies. I'll play it back in the show. Sorry, folks. Again, it's all here. It's a mess. Thank God for Mucinex. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this game was the most surprising game, I think, of the night, of the last two games, the last three of the Thanksgiving games. And if you were coming into this game when you were had the Bengals dominating on defense in this game, I would have called you a liar, and you would have called yourself a liar too. But I gotta say, the Bengals defense, they did their job. They forced 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
5 turnovers, 4 fumbles. One of them being the turning point of the game. Jordan Battle, excuse me, forcing that fumble at the goal line of what would have been an Isaiah likely touchdown in the second quarter. And Jordan Bell also had a great game, 10 tackles, including the fumble that was basically the turning point of the game. Because at that point, they were up, I think they were up 7-6, the Ravens were, and that would have made it they would have made it 13-6 minus the extra point. But initially called a touchdown, and then they take it to a review, and we see the ball was fumbled, was the forced fumble, and went out of bounds. Wound up being a touchback, and that was the turn. To me, that was the turning point of the game right there. Joe Burrow had a solid game in his return. I wouldn't say I put in the show notes great. Solid performance. Solid outing. 24-46, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the defense was the star of the game. That was only the second time this year they allowed less than 20 points. The only time they let less than 20 points in the game was week 1 against the Browns. We all know the Browns, they're impotent on offense. But they did it against a Ravens team that was on a 5-game heater coming into this game. So Bengals defense, that's a gold star. It's a great performance by them. They're now lurking. The Bengals are lurking. Could they win their next 7 games in a row or 6 games in a row? I don't think they can. Stranger things have happened in the NFL, though. We'll see.
Yeah. And they did it last year, and they won their last 5 or something, and their season came down to the final afternoon. But I'm with you, Ryan. I don't think it happens. And I will say I caught the second half of this game. By the time I got home, it was the second half. And you're right, Joe Burrow, he looked rusty to start this game. No question about it. He looked rusty. His completion percentage, not that great, but he made the throws when he needed to make them. The connection between he and Jamar Chase Very, very good. The Bengals were able to sustain drives in this one. They had 38 minutes and some change time of possession. The Ravens only had 21. So the Bengals nearly doubled their time of possession. And that really tells the story of this game. The Ravens looked out of sorts. You saw the four turnovers or five turnovers that you mentioned, the four fumbles, the Lamar Jackson threw a pick. He visible frustration on the sidelines. Zay Flowers, miscommunication issues. They're just Derrick Henry. He's still Derrick Henry, but he doesn't look as dominant this year as he has in years past, and it's not going to be enough. I said it's not going to be enough to save the Ravens. Something is wrong with Lamar. He is playing hurt. Something is going on. He's not running the way that he has in years past, and when he's throwing, he's not looking as good. The Ravens, there was a couple play calls in this game by Todd Monken, and you're thinking, okay, this is more of what they have to do. They did a running play to Lamar. He easily picks up the first down, and you're thinking this is what they have to do. But the Bengals defense, the worst statistical defense in the NFL, you're right, Ryan. They showed up for this one. And they kind of surprisingly punched the Ravens in the mouth. And this is why I said what I said earlier in the offseason. In the season, is it time for John Harbaugh to go? Because it seems like the Ravens have a pattern of not showing up for these games that they need to have. And I go back to week 2 of last year. They had no business losing to the Raiders, who had Gardner Minshew coming in at quarterback, and he lit them up in the second half to beat the Ravens. I mean, there's confounding games like this that the Ravens have, that it doesn't match the talent that they have. And you have to, sometimes the offensive play calling on the Ravens is kind of baffling, but credit to the Bengals defense. They picked off Lamar. They caused the fumbles. It just seemed like they wanted it more. They were ready to go. And you could tell that Joe Burrow coming back gave this whole team a lift. It was kind of like, hey, we got our guy back now. And credit to Joe. They asked him after the game, what are the odds that the Bengals, it's very unlikely that you're going to win out and make the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Why did you come back? And he said, people work very hard to spend their money to see me play, and I wanted to give them my best performance. We get paid a lot of money to play this game that I love, and I wanted to come back. And a hats off to you, Joe Burrow, for saying that.
Yeah, that's the Michael Jordan mentality right there. People, yeah. I play as much as I can because I know people spend their hard-earned money coming to watch me play. I'm going to do my best to give him a great performance. And I guess he was wearing some sort of special orthotic, like a steel orthotic. He said it made his foot feel very uncomfortable. So every time he was on the sideline, he would take that shoe off.
Yes, they showed that. He was changing shoes, and I wondered to myself, I'm going, what's going on here?
Yeah. There's some comments in the comments section. Kevin from Belly Up Fantasy Sports and your cohort on Seahawks Sessions. You have another cohort from Seahawks Sessions who won't calm as freaky down in the chat either. So calm down, Dan. Kevin's saying the AFC North is an absolute garbage. The division winner will be lucky to have a winning record. Yeah, I mean, it could. We've had division winners with sub 500 records before. It could happen again in the AFC North because that division is just straight trash.
Well, and I tried to get my hands on a 7-9 Seahawks division NFC West championship hat from years ago. I couldn't get it.
Might be able to find it on eBay though.
Yeah, maybe.
He says, if I ever recommend Zay Flowers as a starter again, slap me senseless.
Oh, man. You and I, Kevin, I keep starting Zay in one of my leagues, and he keeps killing me.
Oh, my goodness. All right, which I will preface our final game of the holiday with this comment that came in first from James, who was at yesterday's game between the Bears and the Eagles, saying, "Morning, gents, that Black Friday game was even uglier in person."
Oh, man.
Bears over the Eagles, 24-15. Dustin, I don't know how you lead off and start and talk about this game a little bit.
Okay.
This was again another one of those games that the score did not reflect the actual performance on the field for the Philadelphia Eagles.
No, this game, the Bears dominated the Eagles. There's no other way to say it. The Eagles defense, before this game, we were saying, oh, the Eagles defense, they're good enough to carry a game. Well, they got slapped around in this one. And I'm going to tell you, here's some information about the game and why I say that the Bears dominated the Eagles. They ran all over them. They ran all over the Eagles. The Bears had 281 total rush yards. Both DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai had over 100 yards rushing, and both of them scored. The Bears' O-line played a whale of a game in this one. The Eagles could not get anything going. They missed field goals. They missed an extra point. Caleb Williams, he throws a pick. And this I believe the game was 10-9 at this point because the Eagles missed the extra point. The thing was, the announcers even said it, Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels. They're sitting there saying, this game feels like it should be 30-0, not 10-9. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, the Eagles, they go down and they score. It took them 2 minutes to score. You know, A.J. Brown gets that touchdown in the end zone, and you're thinking, okay, here we go. The Eagles are going to make this a game. They missed the extra point, and then it was a microcosm for the entire game because right after that, the Bears are driving, and Caleb Williams throws a pick, and then about 2 plays later, the Eagles fumble the ball. The Bears just took it from them, just grabbed it, you know, on the tush push. So it's the Eagles couldn't get anything going. They missed a field goal later in this game. But when you get dominated the way you did, the Bears have their own version. Now, we talked about the Lions earlier. We talked about how Sonic and Knuckles, they're not really performing as the dynamic duo. It's been the Gibbs show in Detroit. The loss of Ben Johnson, you could see how impactful it is to the Lions now because the Bears are basically doing their own version of that with Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. And Ben Johnson's got this team cooking. He's got them believing. He took his shirt off after the game, so apparently there's free food in Chicago for everybody because some place said if he takes his shirt off, we're going to give him free food. I forget free hot dogs, I think it was. So enjoy your hot dogs in Chicago. But here we go.
Cabasa, come on.
Yeah. But here we go. It was just everything. Heading into the fourth quarter, this blew my mind. I had to write this down. The Bears had 21 first down. The Eagles had 7. Heading into the fourth quarter, 7 first downs. The Eagles, I hate to say this, but they look like a team where the bottom's about to fall out, okay? Because winning covers everything. People are talking about the A.J. Brown drama, the things he said on the Twitch stream, all that stuff.
Winning covers a multitude of sins.
Yes, you can excuse all that stuff when you're winning, but the way that they've looked the last couple of games, you blow a 21-0 lead to the Cowboys, and then you follow it up with this, and you look at Jalen Hurts' body language on the sideline. I'm sorry, I said it last night on Seahawks Sessions. You can call me out for reading body language if you want, but he looked dejected. He looked angry. And I get it. It's the heat of the game, but there was nothing in his eyes that says we're going to come back. This was an absolute drubbing by the Bears. And everything, the Bears decide to go for it on fourth down, and Monangai rips off a huge run. That told the story of the whole game. Everything was coming up Bears, even though Caleb Williams, he didn't look very crisp in this game, but he didn't have to. He didn't have to. Because the Bears, I mean, when you're running the ball like that, it just shows the importance of a running game and what it can do. It demoralized the Eagles. And the other side of the ball, on the Eagles side of the ball, I said in our preseason show, I said that Saquon was going to regress, but I did not expect this. And it could be a mix of everything. It could be the play calling. It could be the offensive line. But Saquon has, I think they said it on the broadcast, he has half the rushing yards that he had at this point last year. Half. You expected regression because last year was an amazing season out of Saquon, but I did not expect this. This is the Eagles are in some real trouble here. They're 8-3, I know, but they are a different looking 8-3 right now. It looks like they could go on a slide. They got to respond and respond quickly, but they looked dejected. The Bears outplayed them. They just flat out smacked them in the mouth in this game.
Yeah. So here's the remaining schedule for the Eagles. At the Chargers on Monday night, home against the Raiders, at the Commanders, at the Bills, then finally to end the season, they're at the Commanders. Oh my gosh, I'm holding back a sneeze. I'm so sorry.
Oh, good. Go ahead and mute, man.
Nope, I got it.
All right.
Nope, I stifled it down. I crushed it with my mind brain. James adding in, one cutback was enough to add 5 yards to every run.
Yeah.
Also saying the blown pass interference calls during this game don't even factor in how awful this team was and is right now. And his last point, at this point, the only win they're likely to get is the Raiders. And even that's up in the air. Well, I don't know.
The Raiders, did you hear, Ryan? Did you hear the news that reportedly broke? That okay. Now, Geno Smith has been bad this year. There's no getting around it. He's been
reverted to Jets. He's reverted to Jets form. Geno Smith. That's what's happened.
But did you hear about potentially part of the reason? Apparently, Chip Kelly was calling plays to Geno that didn't even exist. So Geno's in the huddle. Chip Kelly was calling plays that were not in the Raiders playbook. So Geno's out there, and he's like, "What?" You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. When I first saw
was he calling plays from his days from last year at Ohio State?
I don't know what he was calling. I gotta
was he pulling a Russell Wilson and giving plays to the Broncos that were for the Seahawks?
Perhaps he was, but I gotta read more into this story. But when that broke yesterday during Seahawks sessions, I said this has got to be some BS.
It's got to be a joke.
I was like, multiple sources have cited it now. Chip Kelly stole money from the Raiders, man. So, I mean, at least you never know. We'll have to see what they do. We'll have to see what they do when they're getting actual plays from their playbook on offense. We'll see.
Yeah, Dan was saying, no, Chip was calling it his Wendy's order. Chub Kelly.
Oh, Kelly. Wow, man. Dan coming off the top rope.
James saying the Chip Kelly is a blithering, incompetent show rolls on. Yeah, James, remember those days. Chip Kelly was the coach of the Eagles for a very short time. Yeah, let's talk about this game a little bit for myself. The Bears might be for real.
Yeah,
I'll just come out and say it. The Bears. I mean, I know our friend of the show, Snowman, who hates the Bears, who hates most Chicago sports with every fiber of his being. Outside the Blackhawks and his White Sox. And
I was gonna say, isn't he a White Sox fan?
He's a White Sox fan. He hates the Cubs. He hates the Cubs with a white.
Well, I know he hates the Cubs. Yeah,
hates the Bears. Even he'll have to admit. But I will say this: he won't say they're real until they beat the 49ers. Let's just put it like that. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just shocked about how the Bears looked like the Eagles from last season. This is what they looked like. Yeah. The Eagles, the 2024 Eagles were holding up a mirror to the Bears of 2025, and they saw themselves. And you happen to mention Kyle Monangai, DeAndre Swift, each had over 100 yards in this game. Monangai 130, Swift 125. The last time this happened for the Chicago Bears, nearly 40 years to the day, November 10th, 1985, Walter Payton and Matt Suhey each had over 100 yards against the Detroit Lions. Sorry to say it, Julie from Michigan. I know she's in the chat. She says, hello, gentlemen. Hello, Julie.
Hello there, Julie.
This was the type of game, if you played offensive line at any moment of your life, high school, flag football, college, pro, doesn't matter what level of pro, NFL, CFL, arena, doesn't matter. If you played offensive lineman at any point of your life, you were grinning from ear to ear at what the Bears were doing in their run game in this game. They were opening holes. This offensive line was eating their way to, like you said, 280 plus yards on rushing offense. But the only people who were not smiling were Eagles fans. And James, friend of the show, one of our cred heads, was at that game.
Yeah.
It was not pretty. You could hear the boos. I could hear the boos from Philadelphia. And the defense did what they could. So I'm surprised that this result was 24-15, because this game could have been much, much, much worse if Caleb Williams had not overthrown some of his receivers or had that one pick. This game could have been a much bigger result for the Bears if some things didn't go wrong.
Yeah.
But my God, the offense has just fallen off a cliff for the Eagles. And Kirk Herbstreit made a really good point in this game. He said, the Nick Petrullo, he's often the scapegoat of the offense because of the play calling, but at the same time, the players in the field have to execute.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great point, because you can't scapegoat the offensive coordinator every time something goes wrong. You have to look at the result on the field by the players. And James saying we were booing in the second quarter, the only noise you could hear by the end of the game were Bears fans. And by the point where after the Bears had scored to go up 24-9, fans were starting to leave.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah, it was over. And I think Kirk's point in that broadcast is very apt. I mean, it's on the players. That's why I've been saying, I am over complimentary to running backs because I love the position. I love to watch a great running back go. And that's why I've been on Saquon a little bit. He hasn't there's a variety of factors that factor in, but part of it's on Saquon too. The players have to execute. They have to execute the plays that are there. And there was a drop. I believe it was Devontae Smith. There's just certain things that the Eagles just looked listless in this game. I don't know how else to describe it. They looked like they were beaten. They didn't expect the Bears to come out the way they did, and when they did, they kind of wilted a little bit. There's at least to my eye. I mean, that's and hey, credit to Ben Johnson, because when the Bears started the way they did, we're thinking, oh, here we go again. Another failure by the Bears. They can't get it right. Ben Johnson's got this team believing, and they're rallying around him. He's using a chant from his high school days.
Yes.
And it's working, man. It's working. They are fired up. They will run through a wall for him.
Yeah.
And I said it a couple weeks ago on the show. The Bears are becoming one of the most entertaining teams to watch in the NFL, at least in my opinion. Montez Sweat has been playing well for them. And man, if this running attack keeps going, I don't care that it's a timeshare. Both of these running backs are fun to watch. Monungai is a bowling ball, and Swift looks explosive when he gets going. So I think shout out to Kevin. He pointed out last night, he's a numbers guy. Monungai was averaging 6 yards a carry. That's great.
Much to the chagrin, Ben Johnson's doing great. Much to the chagrin of friend of the show, from one of our cred heads, Julie, saying, "I hate this. I hate it very much."
Yeah.
She also says, "I restate my conspiracy theory from last Tuesday. Saquon is secretly injured." Yeah, we were on it with that point. He suffered a groin injury against the Giants in that route they had a few weeks ago. But you also have to wonder too. I mean, he's missing a couple of his offensive linemen too. What would it, if you were the Eagles, and if you had the line that you had last year with Mekhi Becton at right guard? Like, what you wouldn't want from Mekhi Becton to be your right guard right now?
Yeah.
I mean, that line was just one of the biggest offensive lines in NFL history. And you're grinding down all those yards.
Yeah, and they had successfully, I mean, better than anybody. Mekhi didn't pan out in New York at all. Then he goes to Philly, and they fixed him. They coached him up. They got him going.
They got him to move. They got him to cooperate and move to another position because it wasn't working out at left tackle. So they said, "All right, we'll try it right guard." Yeah. Super Bowl champs, they were.
Yeah, there it was. It was. But that's the thing. That's the thing, Julie. If you are right, which I think you are, and you just reminded me, Ryan. If Saquon is injured, you have Tank Bigsby on the roster. You traded for Tank Bigsby. Use him.
Exactly. James also says not re-signing Mekhi Becton is proving to be a big pain. Steen is good in pass protection, but Becton was a much better run blocker. He has been since his college days at Louisville. That's why the Jets drafted him as high as they drafted him in 2020. Just didn't work out because of freak injuries and attitude issues and not being willing to split time at left tackle or be willing to be moved around to make him a better lineman. And Julie says, I would be annoyed at the Bears' success just for the fact that we're division rivals, but it would be like, oh, well, whatever. But because it's Ben Johnson, I actively despise this.
Oh, man.
Oh, goodness.
We've all been there, Julie, as fans.
I wanted him to fail.
Oh, man. That's so see, it's
nobody likes a spoil sport, Julie. Come on.
It is such the opposite. Maybe it's because, Julie, you were sending out the vibes that you wanted him to fail so bad that it reversed. I feel like I jinxed Pete Carroll because I was like, you know what? He's going to make the Raiders better. They're going to be, I was sending out the positive vibes.
Julie has a voodoo doll somewhere in her room of Ben Johnson trying to and it's not working.
Yeah, she's telling everybody, don't eat those free hot dogs. Grab a burger.
You know what it is? Like all those vibes she put towards Ben Johnson are going towards Aaron Glenn. So stop it, Julie. Your Uncle Al chiming in saying, hey, I feel the same way about Daniel Jones. Yeah. Want him to fail, but he's not failing.
Shout out to Uncle Al for the YouTube username, by the way. I always forget to shout him out for that. It's a good one.
Right. The only way I know is because of his Schwinn icon logo. That's all I know. All right, we're going to take our commercial break, and we're going to talk about one of our sponsors here at No Credentials Required, and that is Royal Retros, the king of throwbacks. Remember when jerseys were bold, mustaches were glorious, and shorts were way too short? Good news. You can bring all that retro magic back, minus the chafing, with Royal Retros. They got vintage style football, baseball, and hockey gear that screams, I was born in the wrong era, but I look amazing. Rock a jersey that makes people say, wait, is that from the 80s? Yes, it is. And you look fantastic. Head over to royalretros.com. Use promo code CREDHEAD at checkout for 10% off your order. That's CREDHEAD, CREDHEAD. Like a fan of the show, but with excellent taste and throwbacks. Royal Retros, the king of throwbacks. Again, 10% off your order using promo code CREDHEAD at checkout, plus free shipping with every order of $100 or more. And I just want to give an audience of an idea of what we mean by some of the fabulous gear that they have. So I showed Dustin this after one of the shows the other day. This is, now the Canadian Football League had a brief incursion into the United States back in 1995. One of the teams was the Birmingham Barracudas. This was the jersey that they wore. Not the exact jersey. This is a replica jersey, but this is the jersey that they wore. This is their home jersey. The Cudas.
Oh, man.
That screams 1990s.
Nice. It totally does. It totally does. When you showed me that after the show the other day, I said, man, that reminds me of the old school Vancouver Grizzlies look going on. But I like the use of the Cudas, like they shortened it to Cudas. It's awesome.
Yeah. This was their away jersey. Look at that. It just screams 1990s.
It beautifully made by Royal Retros. Yes. And Ryan, you are ahead of me in the Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge. I'm interested to see what I am going to be picking up for you when you are inevitably crowned the champion. I'm not throwing in the towel. I just have a feeling.
Don't throw in the towel just yet. We still got a few weeks. We still got 5 weeks left in the season. So but Royal Retros is the presenting sponsor for our Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge, which we'll talk about in just a few moments. But again, royalretros.com, promo code CREDHEAD at checkout, get 10% off your order plus free shipping with every order over $100 or more. All right, let's move on to week 13 in the NFL. Talk about some of the things that interest us this week. Let's talk about the most intriguing matchups in week 13. Not a whole lot right now because again, we've had 4 games already this week. We went through them all in our previous segment, but we're going to go through quickly, talk about the most intriguing, talk about what sticks out to us in week 13. So let's talk about the most intriguing matchup, and I'll lead off with this one. Bills Steelers. It's the 4:25 game on CBS tomorrow. One team's hanging on to a wild card spot, while the other is currently on the outside looking in. Now the Steelers have an extra incentive to win this game. The Ravens losing on Friday means if they win tomorrow, they move back into first place in the AFC North.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yeah. But I'm curious to see which Bills team will we see tomorrow. Will we see the team that got absolutely dominated against the Texans on last Thursday night? Will we see the team that was dominant the first 3 weeks of the season? We really don't know. And I'm also curious to see what the Steelers offense will look like with Aaron Rodgers back in the lineup. Mike Tomlin said he's good to go for Sunday's game, although they looked better with Mason Rudolph in the lineup last week against the Bears. Mm-hmm. So which version of the Steelers offense are we going to see on Sunday? So that's my most intriguing matchup of week 13. Dustin, what was yours?
That's a good pick. I almost picked it, but I decided to go with an AFC South matchup. For me, it is Texans-Colts. The Texans defense has been amazing. There's no other way to say it. The Texans defense is the reason that they still have a shot at making the playoffs here. CJ Stroud has reportedly been cleared from the concussion protocol. Davis Mills has done just enough to get the Texans wins, but I think CJ Stroud coming back will bring them another level on offense because he was playing better before his injury. But the main reason I'm going to be curious about this game is Daniel Jones. Sorry, Uncle Al, but hats off to Indy for this one. He's been playing with a fractured fibula. I have in my notes, parentheses, ouch, dude. But how will he look? Because he's not the most mobile quarterback. We all remember that play he had with the Giants where he was wide running down the field. No one was around him, and he just tripped. Everyone remembers it. Sorry, Daniel. I still remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers as well. But I want to see, will he be able to effectively use his legs against a Texans defense that has no problems getting pass pressure? And how will the Colts offensive line hold up? Will Jonathan Taylor be able to get it going against a stingy Texans run defense? We'll have to see. This is a good one. I believe you might be muted, sir. I don't know.
Yeah, I was. Oh, damn.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that'll be an interesting matchup for sure. The 1 o'clock games. Not a whole lot of games this week again, because on Sunday at least, because of the Thanksgiving and Black Friday holidays. Mm-hmm. Friends and family game of week 13. Dustin, who is your friends and family game?
Oh man, the friends and family game again. There was a couple where I was like, I could pick this game again, but I'm not going to do it. I've been beaten up on the Titans and the Raiders all year. So I decided to go a different route this year. I went Broncos versus Commanders. And because the Broncos are another outstanding defense, okay? And as of a week or so ago, they had the most sacks in the NFL. I'm not sure if any team has surpassed them, but a banged-up Commanders squad is facing the Broncos. They'll be able to pressure the QB. Sorry, Marcus Mariota. I think this one could get ugly in a hurry, despite the fact that the Broncos have also looked ugly on offense at times. Bo Nix hasn't had the season that we thought he might have. But I think defensively, the Broncos are going to be able to do enough to dominate an undermanned Commanders squad. Sorry, friend of the show, D. Willie.
I picked this game so nobody else would. Falcons at Jets.
Oh.
It's Kirk Cousins. It's Tyrod Taylor. It's a throwaway game in 2025. If this matchup were played between both quarterbacks, 10 years ago, yeah, it might be a feature game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we are where we are. Both quarterbacks are in their mid to late 30s with various past injuries, playing on the turf of MetLife Stadium without their star receivers. For the Jets, Garrett Wilson. For the Falcons, Drake London. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah, man.
Ugly.
Tough. Ryan, just endure the suffering. You only have 5 weeks left.
Only
or
5
so.
more weeks of this garbage. Players to watch in week 13. I'm going to start us off here with Travis Etienne, particularly of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feature the run game between him and Tootin. The Jaguars looked like they're going to get their running attack going again a couple weeks ago against the Chargers. Had an okay game last week against the Cardinals. But in order for Trevor Lawrence to get comfortable in the pocket, because we saw what happened last week with Trevor Lawrence in the lineup. 3 touchdowns, but also threw 3 interceptions. He is what he's okay. It's going to sound awful.
Okay.
Is he the white Jameis Winston? 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in the same game.
Could be.
Yeah, we didn't know which version of Trevor Lawrence we're going to get week to week. Could it be bad, the bad version of Trevor Lawrence? Could it be the good version of Trevor Lawrence? Regardless, they have to get the run game going. I said this a few weeks ago when they talked on that Monday night game, when they beat the Chiefs, who they have that leg up on in the wild card standing. They have that tiebreaker. I'm curious to see how the run game is going to get going because the Titans are ranked 22nd against the run in the NFL. The Titans defense is not very good against the run. Jacksonville's run game, again, if it's on, it's on. It is absolutely on, and Trevor Lawrence can relax. But also doesn't help when you don't have Travis Hunter or Thomas in the lineup.
Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not sure if he's going to play. I forgot to look that up before the shows. Apologies.
I'll look it up right now, but I'll have you spotlight your player to watch.
All right. I've got players to watch. I'm doing 2 this week, but I'll start off with the offensive one. I kind of teased it in the segment before, but it's Daniel Jones. I'm sorry. I know it's the low-hanging fruit, but when I found out that man has been playing with a fractured fibula, I just got to see how he's going to look because playing the Texans defense, as I just laid out, is no small task. They are amazing. Shout out to D'Amico Ryans. We discussed it one of the last shows. We've done a lot of shows here, people. They're starting to blur together for me. We discussed it. If the Texans make a deep run, D'Amico Ryans, he's got a shot for Coach of the Year. Man, that defense, I'll have my eye on Daniel Jones. Will he be able to escape pressure? Will he be able to move okay? If not, the Colts could be in trouble in this one. So he is the player on offense that I am watching. On defense, it's also easy. It's shooting fish in a barrel. But can't have him locked up. He's too important to the defense. Shout out to our tribal chief. But it's Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has, in all probability, he will make history. I want to see how much of how many sacks he could potentially get in this game. He has, I believe, 18 sacks.
Yes.
Already this many games into the season. So every week is going to be watching to see if he can break the record. And I think he will do it. I hope I didn't jinx you, Myles. You've had an amazing season. I know you've been frustrated with the direction of the Browns, but again, you took the money. No shame in that, but you kind of had to choose, and you chose. But man, you got a shot at the record. He is a game wrecker, and I'll be watching him every single week from here on out.
Can't have him locked up. He's important to the defense.
Yes, he is.
Tribal chief. Yeah, he's got 18 sacks. The Browns, with their 10 sacks last week, they're actually only 6 behind the Broncos for team lead with 42. The Broncos had 48. So we'll see if the Broncos can increase that number this week. And we'll see if the Browns can increase that number this week because they're at home against the 49ers.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of, we're moving on to, we're going to transition over to our Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge for week 13.
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
And once again, our presenting sponsor for the Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge is Royal Retro's King of Throwbacks, 10% off your order with promo code CREDHEAD at checkout. Here are Dustin's picks for week 13. He's got the Broncos beating the Commanders, the Jaguars beating the Titans, and his upset pick is the Steelers over the Bills. I have chosen the Chargers to beat the Raiders.
Yeah.
I got the 49ers beating the Browns. And my upset pick, I originally was going to roll with the Cardinals once again. But I thought to myself, no, they're playing the Buccaneers. I looked to see the injury report. By the way, Brian Thomas was full practice on Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
So he will be playing against the Titans this week. And I saw that Baker Mayfield was questionable this week, which means he's playing.
Yeah.
So I switched it up. I went with the Texans over the Colts. So
that's a tasty upset.
That's a saucy pick right there for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It pains me. It pains me to pick the Steelers, Ryan. I never thought I'd be here, but I'm a desperate man. To quote a line from one of my favorite comedies, desperation is a stinky cologne.
What movie is that from?
Super Troopers.
Oh, yeah. I haven't watched that in a while.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge, week 13. These are our picks presented by Royal Retros, King of Throwbacks. 10% off your order with promo code CREDHEAD at checkout.
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
There's a comment in the comment section by your uncle. He said it's a great Royal Retros is a great place to get an Albany Choppers jersey. Unfortunately, they do not have an Albany Choppers jersey. But we could put a word in.
Ooh.
If I might be able to put a word in because they do have pretty sweet jerseys and T-shirts from leagues past and from teams past. So I'm gonna have to make a recommendation over to Dustin from Royal Retro saying, "Hey, can you put in an Albany Choppers jersey?" And I'm pretty sure your Uncle Al will be the first in line to get that jersey. All right, our last segment for this episode of No Credentials Required, our favorite athletes to wear number 87. And I'll have you lead off, Dustin. Who is your favorite athlete? Well, actually, we're only a handful of episodes away.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going into December. So you are hoping that your favorite, that number 90, we would get episode 94.
Yes.
We are on our way.
Yes.
So
we will be there, but we have to talk about 87 first. And for anybody who thinks I was going to pick Rob Gronkowski for this, you are high, okay? But I am picking Sidney Crosby, man.
Hey.
It's got to be Sid the Kid. Even, I'm not the biggest Penguins fan. Sorry, Schmitty. I did watch a lot of Penguins games with you. But it's because you had the center ice package in high school. Pretty sweet deal.
Nice.
But man, Sid, how could it not be Sid? Okay, listen to some of these numbers. I believe he's played for about 21 years. He's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, a 2-time Hart Trophy winner. He was the 05-06 All-Rookie winner. He's a 2-time Art Ross Trophy winner, 2-time Conn Smythe Trophy winner, 8-time All-Star, 2-time Maurice Richard Award winner, 640 career goals, parentheses so far because he's still playing. 1,072 career assists, 1,712 career points. He will be a Hall of Famer. Will be. And I know people like to question Sidney's toughness No. Sidney missed a lot of games due to concussion problems. Now, knowing what we know about concussions, that stuff can linger, and it's not Sid's fault. And think about it in these terms. His numbers would be even better had he not missed that significant chunk of time with the concussions, injuries. Sid, too, he has a reputation of not being able to score goals. I mean, he can score goals with the best of them, but he's always looking to get his teammates involved. He's an unselfish player. And, people that deride Sidney Crosby, I'll never understand it. His nickname, Captain Canada, I've known that one for a while. Sid the Kid. People call him Squidney. I'll never do that. That's awful.
Why?
But I don't know. People just like to hate on Sidney Crosby. I'll never understand why. He's a great player. I've been watching Sid since I graduated college. He and Ovechkin entered the league at right around the same time. It's been great to watch. They have respectively been 2 stars in the league that you love to see lock it up. And you could make an argument. Ovi's unbelievable, but you could make an argument that Sid is a more complete player. I'm not going to sit here and debate that on the show, but Sidney Crosby, no doubt Hall of Famer, and he's been fun to watch, and I'm glad that he's still out there doing it.
Yeah. For me, get the button. I'll try to do my best with it. Homer alert. Ugh.
Yeah. I was about to say, do you want me to do it? But it's your thing, man. It's one of your trademarks.
My favorite athlete to wear number 87, Lavernius Coles. Lavernius Coles, drafted by the New York Jets in 2000. He was actually drafted in the 3rd round. He fell. He had a great career at Florida State, had great stats there, but fell to the 3rd round in 2000. It was one of the most. The 2000 draft is one of the most memorable drafts for the Jets. They had a ton of picks in this draft because of based off the so-called trade that sent Bill Belichick to the Patriots for all those picks. But was one of the most exciting players for the Jets at the time. His first 3 seasons were it didn't stick out. His first season, his rookie season, only started in 3 games, but still had 22 receptions for 370 yards and a touchdown. 2001, that's when he started. That's when he started to break out. 59 receptions, 868 yards, 7 touchdowns. 2002 was his best season. 89 receptions, 1,264 yards, 5 touchdowns. And was considered probably the best target, the best weapon outside of Curtis Martin for the New York Jets at that time. And then they traded him to the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
For another aforementioned Jets receiver in I forgot who's my number 83.
Moss, Santana
Yeah,
Moss.
Santana Moss. Yeah, because they traded him. They acquired him after a contract dispute. Coles wanted a significant kick. He wanted a significant pay raise, so they traded him for Santonio Holmes. But he had a Pro Bowl season in 2003 with 1,204 yards and six touchdowns. But he was also adept at the kick return game. Not bad. I mean, not bad stats. But in 2005 was traded back to the Jets. This is the weirdest. It's the weirdest career. This is one of the weirdest careers. Got traded by the Jets to the Redskins. He's got sent back to the Jets in 2005. But his numbers were still solid. 2006, 91 receptions, 1,098 yards, 6 touchdowns. Had a pretty good 2008 with Brett Favre at quarterback. 70 receptions, 850 yards, and 7 touchdowns. But went to the Bengals for his final season. 43 receptions, 514 yards. But not bad numbers for his career. 674 receptions, 8,609 yards, 49 touchdowns. These are not Hall of Fame stats, but whenever he took the field, regardless of whether he was a Jet or a Redskin or a Bengal, he could, in one play, he could electrify. He could electrify it. So it was great career as a Jet. I don't have his stats to. Excuse me. I don't have the stats to see where he ranks among the top receivers in all time. We all know that Don Maynard is number one in pretty much every category. Your uncle's saying, Howard Cross, first pick number 87. Yeah, nice safe pick. And of course, James got the homer pick as usual. I'll be shocked if he doesn't have an eagle or a shark as his favorite number. Like, come on, James, mix it up a little bit. Like,
yeah, you know what? I compare it to Dez's run with Alabama. Tide players, man.
That's justified for her because she grew up an Alabama fan.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because she's educating us. She's trying to gaslight us into becoming Crimson Tide fans. But James saying my number
big day today. The Iron Bowl.
The Iron Bowl's today. Favorite number 87 is tight end Brent Selleck, solid as a rock for his 10 years in the league, capped it off with a Super Bowl win. Good for him. It also says the NHL media complex calling Crosby the next one didn't help him out the shoot. No, he struggled in his rookie year. Everyone struggles in their rookie year. Jack Hughes did. Ovechkin did, although had a couple of highlight plays. Crosby did. Every rookie has every player that comes into the league has their struggles initially. And then we see the player that they become, that we're going to have them see what they become. So we're seeing what Crosby saw it with Ovechkin, McDavid, all those guys. It's fun. It's fun. Love this league. I love the NHL. All right, we're going to get out of here. Well, before we do that, we're just going to remind you to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also check out our other content, both written and in podcast form, at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host hub, which is Podbean, freshly brewed. And hit that notification bell on Twitter, on YouTube, so you know when the shows go live, or there's general announcements, or there's show clips that go up. Thank you for everyone who joined us on the Belly Up Sports Twitter today. The show will be on repeat, will be replayed on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel later this afternoon. And as for us, we'll be back on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk about, we'll review Week 13 in the NFL. We'll try to do better because, again, we're both a little under the weather, but we'll be sure to do better. That's for sure. But for those of you who joined, thank you for joining us on No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. See you on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Enjoy the football. Have a safe and happy weekend. Don't beat up grandmas for a microwave, please, for your holiday shopping.
Don't.
In fact, if you want to do some holiday shopping, visit our sponsors, use our affiliate links, use our promo codes at checkout, and help out our show, help out our network. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. And yes, you are right, Julie. It was Invader Coffee. And Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if he runs like a dinosaur. Should we call him T-Rex? Let's debate it next show.
Yes. Do it.